See, the problem with being mean, let's say, and not negotiating your social landscape and not trading reciprocal favors is that no matter how powerful you are as an individual, two individuals, 3/4 of your power can do you in. And that happens with the chimps fairly regularly. If the guy on top is too tyrannical and doesn't make social connections, then weaker chimps, males, make good social connections, and when he's not in such good shape, they take him down, and viciously too. DeWall has documented some unbelievably horrendous acts of, let's call it regicide, among the chimpanzee troops that he studied, mostly in the Arnhem Zoo. They have a big troop there that's been there a long time. But he's very interested in prototypical morality. And here's some other examples of prototypical morality emerging among animals. There's many of them. But one is, you know, if two wolves have a dominance dispute, that would be more likely among the male wolves, but it doesn't really matter. They basically display their size and they growl ferociously and puff up their hair so they look bigger. And you know, you can see cats do that when they go into fight or flight, right? Not only do they puff up, including their tail, but they stand sideways. And the reason they do that is because they look bigger, right? Because they're trying to put out the most intimidating possible front. So anyways, if two wolves are going at it, what they're really trying to do is to size each other up. And they're trying to scare each other into backing off, fundamentally. Because, see, the worst case scenario is like you're wolf number 1 and I'm wolf number 2, and we tear each other to shreds, but I win, but I'm so damaged after that that wolf number 3 comes in and takes me out. So, like, there's a big cost to be paid even for victory in a dominance dispute if it degenerates into violence. And animals and human beings, but animals in particular, have evolved very, very specific mechanisms to escalate dominance disputes towards violence step by step, so that the victor doesn't risk incapacitating himself by winning. So what happens with the wolves is that you know, they growl at each other in posture and display, and maybe they even snap at each other, but the probability that they're going to get into a full-fledged fight is pretty low. And what happens is one of the wolves backs off and flips over and shows his neck, and that basically means, all right, tear it out, you know. And the other wolf says, of course he doesn't, well, you're kind of an idiot and you're not that strong, but we might need you to take down a moose in the future, and so, you know, despite your patheticness, I won't tear out your throat. And then they've established their dominance position, and then from then on, at least for some substantial period of time, the subordinate wolf gives way to the dominant wolf. But at least the subordinate wolf is alive, and you know, he might be dominant over other wolves. And so everyone in the whole hierarchy has sorted that out through either through mock combat or through combat itself. And you know, the low ranking members aren't in the best possible position, but at least they're not getting their heads torn off every second of their existence. And so there's even some utility in the stability of the dominance hierarchy for the low ranking members, because at least they're not getting pounded, they're getting threatened, which is way better. I mean, it's not good, but it's way better than actual combat. And then there's the example of rats. What Panksepp observed, and I think this is a brilliant piece of science, is that first of all, juvenile male rats in particular like to rough and tumble play. They like to wrestle, and they actually pin each other just like little kids do, or like adult wrestlers do. They pin their shoulders down, and that basically means you win. So the little rat who is the subordinate one, he has to do the invitation, and then the big rat can agree to play because he's in the dominant position. But if you pair them repeatedly, and this is really worth thinking about, because see, morality emerges out of repeated interactions. Because you might say, well, if you're only going to interact with someone once, you might as well just take advantage of them and run off. That's what a psychopath does, by the way. So anyways, if you repeatedly pair these rats, unless the big rat lets the little rat win at least 30% of the time, the little rat will not ask the big rat to play. And that is, it's a staggering discovery. It's a staggering discovery because you've got the emergence there of a implicit morality, essentially, that's even incarnated in rats, that emerges across multiple play sessions. It's like, yes, exactly, that's exactly what Piaget said about the emergence of morality. Now, this is an interesting thing. So you got the emergence of morality in, say, chimps, you got the emergence of morality in wolves, you got the emergence of morality in rats. So what this means, because rats can't talk, and wolves can't talk, and chimpanzees can't talk, and what that means, just as Piaget suggested, was that the damn morality emerges before the representation of the morality. It's a big deal to know that, and that it emerges as a consequence of repeated social interaction. So it's not a top-down thing, it's a bottom-up thing.